How you guys doing today? We come with another video. It's autotips.ca. Today we're going to be talking about brakes, front pads and rotors. That's what I meant when I said brakes, because that's the most used component. Every time you drive in the car, you have to use your brakes. So it's the most consumed part as well. So hopefully this video will save you some money. We're going to explain all kind of different types of brakes, brake pads, that's what I meant. So we have some examples here depending on the application, because some brakes you could use a ceramic brakes. Okay, so those ones, they might create a little bit of dust, but they're very economically, they're really good and they're good quality, you know. They're made by this company. It's here in Guelph. I'm gonna talk about that a little bit because you see, back in the days they used to have asbestos brakes, and you know those brakes, they found out back in the 80s that it causes cancer, stuff like that. That's why they got away from that, and now they have some semi-metallic. This is like the aftermarket I'm talking about. So this is out of asbestos brakes. Pretty good. It comes with some shims and stuff on it. So it depends on your application. If you're like one of those people like to drive faster, probably semi-metallic might be good. But then again, you might have to replace your rotors when you get your pads changed. Versus the ceramics, sometimes I know they get used faster than the metallic ones, but at the same time you don't have to replace your rotor every time you replace your pads. So that's the advantage of those, you know. Overall, it all depends on your application. It's one of those guys that like you drive in your car more often, stop and go traffic. So definitely you want to go with the semi-metallic ones, because at least it will last you a while, and if you'll be able to replace the pads on time, probably gonna save the rotor as well. So they're not too hard, they're not too soft. Other than that, I'm gonna show you guys where these ones sit versus what. So we have rotors on this side. So this is the rotor where the pads are gonna sit. I'm gonna demo that in the car later on. The nice thing is Ideal actually supply you with these nice gloves, so when you're working your hands are nice and clean. But today what we're trying to do is show you guys the right application for your car. You know, it all depends on your drive habits. I would say average driver probably has got to replace brakes. It's a little bit hard to say, but about 20 to 30,000 kilometers. Probably it all depends. If it's you go stop and go traffic, probably gonna replace it more often than somebody that drives on the highway all the time. That's why if you drive on the highway all the time, it's good to go with the metallic ones. They stop better and faster, so that should be considered on the choice as well. So this is the inside, that's the outside. So usually that's how it's gonna sit on the car. This stops the rolling of the rotor, you know. I'm gonna show you guys where this goes on the car. So this is the old system. It's called brake drums. Thanks God I didn't have to hammer this one. Usually you gotta hammer them, or you got a couple of holes here. So as you thread the bolt in there, I could just show you guys a little bit easier. So if we did not, like in this case we didn't have to hammer it, but if it was a little bit tight, I always recommend a bolt. You put it right on this hole here, and then you thread these, you thread those ones, and this will push the drum out for you to get it out. So you take these out, so that's the brake drums. Then this is the brake shoes. So what happens is when you press your brake pedal, the fluid comes around here on the flex, and it goes in and then pushes these wheel cylinders. So the wheel cylinder, once the hydraulic pushes, it goes like kind of opens this, and that slams against the drum. So the shoes will be here, and this will be rotating, and that's how you stop the car. So the most frequently changing on this is the brake shoes here. I'm gonna show you guys what they look like. This is what they look like, the brake shoes. So this is what it looks like. So you see, this is the actual part that gets used. So this one has the same product as the brake pads as well, because it does the same function. So as the shoes worn off, you can see this one, this is the indicator. Some of them, they have rivets here, so as it finishes, the rivet gets even with the body of the car, that's with the body of the brake pad itself. That's how we know your shoes are getting done. So that's what they look like when they're new. So these ones, the same thing, they have metallic, semi-metallic, and they have ceramic as well. So it all depends on your application, how you use your car, you know. And in this case, like you can see, they're getting worn off here. So, but they're still in good shape. Just a tip, it's a good idea every time you're rotating the tires to wash these and to adjust it. I'm gonna show you guys how to do that. So we're just using a soap. We're using a soap here. Just kind of clean all this dust off a little bit. So the adjuster is right here. So it has a hole down here. So in this case, because we're tightening it, you don't have to worry about the hole down. So all you do is just try to go, sometimes they seize as well, you know. So if you try to loosen it, then you're going against the lock. So you always have to hold it, you know. But in this case, we're just trying to, so this is, if it's lubed right, it should go good. So you can only go one way without touching the lock. So the lock is just there. Somehow it doesn't retract and it gets smaller, you know. Because as the brake worn off, you need to adjust it. So that's what I'm doing right now. But this, to make it bigger, you gotta push it down. So on the other side, to make it bigger, you gotta go up. So we're working right now on the left side. This is the rotor, the same thing what we did the demo on that side. And then the brake pads are down here. So on this car, the brake pads and the rotors were put in probably about 3 years ago, because I put them by myself, and they lasted this long. I think I drove already about 30,000 kilometers, but this car is not used as much in 3 years. If you could drive only 30,000 kilometers, that tells you a lot. So I put in ceramic brake pads and premium rotors. So sometimes when you go with the premium, it lasts longer too, and it stops better. So with the ceramic, we'll always have some sort of negative. So the negative part about it is you're gonna get a lot of dust, sometimes a little dust, but you don't hear that whining sound whenever you stop. With the semi-metallic, you're gonna hear that squeaking sound whenever in your neighbors, you know. But it's good your neighbors have to know you're home. This is the caliper. So this is the caliper. So as the hydraulics push in, so these cylinders, these pistons here, they come up and then they sit against these pads. Like I told you, Ray Vestas original, it lasts longer. So it pushes up, and that's how it was able to push that back, you know. So if, let's say, your brake pads are worn really bad, this is gonna extend more up to here probably, So if your brake reservoir is low, it's actually trying to compensate whatever the pistons are doing here. So that's a good sign when you get the light inside the dash that's showing your brake light sign. You always have to check your fluid. That's the first thing I would do. You know, if your fluid is low and if there's no leak, you more likely need brake pads. Today's video whole purpose was just to give you kind of heads up on why some brakes cost more than the others. It's good to stick with something that you know. So Ideal brakes are made here in Guelph, made in Canada. They come with a lifetime warranty. You can ask your mechanic about them. All the pros use them, but I like to stick with Ideals. Quality is backed up with lifetime warranty. That's why I choose the Ideals to put on all the cars. And you want to try the next time your Ideals, go ahead and give it a shot, you know. They have semi-metallic, they have ceramics, they can get you metallic brakes. So hopefully until next video, you can enjoy these. Make sure you subscribe, support all the sponsors. They're the ones that are putting it down for autotips.ca. I appreciate you guys. Peace.